We are back at the Bulova Archive here at the Empire State Building. Here we are in the Bulova Museum. A bunch of vintage watches behind us, very important watches for Bulova and Accutron. However, today we are with Ricardo and we are going to be talking about his collection, which we have right in front of us. He actually put it in chronological order, so we're going to be going through it, a timeline and history of his watch collection. Ricardo, tell us a little bit about yourself, and thank you for joining us. First off, I would like to say thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. Just to give you guys a little bit more about myself, I've always been in love with watches, but I spent my 9 to 5. I was actually working in healthcare. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've kind of gone from working in healthcare, then working in watches part-time, and then from working in watches part-time, I now work in watches full-time.
Yeah. And we actually met through YouTube.
With the YouTube channel, it was me, a gentleman by the name of John Kill, and a couple other guys. We wanted to come together and create kind of a YouTube watch network when it comes to watch content. We started working on it. We started on a bang. Both John Kill and myself, we went to Basel, had a great experience. But from there, things didn't really pan out as we expected. COVID came, and so there was Clubhouse, and it was kind of a place I found to really just get my thoughts, get my opinions out there. You know, you could be in this large room with a lot of people, and then you would get 15 to 30 seconds to kind of voice your opinion, voice your thoughts. And I got lucky. One of the days where I was speaking, a gentleman by the name of Zach, who works at Time and Tide, he heard me speaking, and he was just like, hey, you know what, this might work out. Hey, let's do a couple of these together. And from there, it turned into an opportunity to write part-time for Time and Tide out of Australia. The story continues, and that opportunity led to where I'm currently working, which is Worn & Wound. Love the guys out there. We're based in Brooklyn. I currently am the manager for their Windup watch shop. That's a little bit of my travels over the past 4 or 5 years.
If you're not familiar with Worn & Wound and the Windup watch shop, probably one of my favorite, and I've said this many times on my channel, places for getting information on watches. And also the Windup watch shop, they do some pretty incredible collaborations, a lot of them that I've featured on my channel.
And just overall a great team and just a good atmosphere. But probably the highlight and one of the biggest things we do has to be our fair. We do it 3 times a year. We have one in San Francisco. We have another fair in Chicago, and then we have kind of our big New York fair. If you like watches, it gives you this opportunity, one, to kind of geek out with people who feel the exact same way that you do.
And if you go to San Francisco, Chicago, or New York, you're more than likely going to see Ricardo there. And like he said, and again, I've said this on my channel, I've done videos at the Windup Watch Fair, and I love them. And I'm not sponsored in any way. This is not something that I've always loved it, and I love just being there and hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go there and hang out for the day because it is a place that you could hang out at. Last year, no drinks at the New York Watch. And I think they got a lot of flack for that because I was kind of thirsty, even just for water. But they didn't have any drink. But I think you guys are going to change that this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I'll leave that up.
One of the first things I asked.
Yeah, I'll leave that up to the amazing partnerships team we have.
We'll drop links down in the description for not only the Windup Watch Shop, Worn & Wound, and of course, the Windup Watch Fairs.
Cool.
So, but what we're here today to talk about is your collection, because you are first and foremost a watch guy. Obviously, before you were working in the industry, you were a collector. And like I said, you have this in chronological order. So we're gonna start with the watch all the way to the left, correct? That's the Tudor?
Yes, so we're gonna start with my Tudor Black Bay Steel, sometimes called Heritage, but I just call it my BBS, my Black Bay Steel. When I saw this watch the first time, first thing it said to me, like, it is like the tool watch's tool watch.
Right.
It just has a very monotone appearance. It's the gray, it's the black, that's it. But that also makes it versatile because it doesn't have a lot of color working with it. I could either toss it on a really beefy leather strap, and I'll be okay. I could put it on the regular bracelet. I'll be okay. I'll toss it on some shark mesh like I have right here. I'll be okay. And that's one of the things that just jumped out to me. And it's also the most I ever spent on a watch up until that time.
I love the red accents. I love the red triangle at 12 o'clock, and the steel bezel for this is just really cool.
Like, I feel like I could just like toss this thing.
Yeah, you can knock someone out with this thing. It's definitely a tool watch.
I dented this watch the day my son was born. From the moment we got to the hospital to the time he'd been born, it had been a long process, like hours and hours. You know, basically, you see when you are a father and your wife is in labor, your job is to do all the other stuff so that she just focuses on what she has to do. And that's what I was doing, and I was just walking all over the place, and I banged it on something pretty hard, created a little dent at the 40-minute marker on the bezel. I'm like, okay, this just adds character to it. You know, I didn't have to create a story. Look, this just happens. Fast forward about a year or two later, I'm wearing the watch, and I go to take it off my wrist, and I drop it completely. And as I pick it up, I just see the second hand just having a full round trip across the dial. So like, okay, I'm gonna have to get this serviced. Send it to get it serviced, and first thing they say is, okay, we're gonna service it for you, but we're gonna replace the bezel. I'm like, no. I went back and forth with them for maybe like a month. No, not happening. You're not changing the bezel. So
the dent is still there.
The dent is still there.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it when I was handling. So
yeah, the
interesting.
Dent,
okay, I thought they actually did.
At 40 is still there. This is my one and only Brew. I am a big fan of Jonathan and what he does with the brand. Just him as an overall person. Reliable, just salt of the earth, just a good guy. Anytime I'm friends with somebody who owns a watch brand, which in my travels has happened a lot, I always have the approach of I will not buy anything from them until it's something that speaks to me. Because what I don't want to happen is I buy a watch from a friend who owns a brand and I end up not liking it. Well, not even end up, I don't like it really. Down the line, I can't sell it because it's from a friend. Right. And at the same time, I'm not wearing it. So for me, it's always like once something is created that speaks to me, and I'm not even asking you to create something for me, but once you just have something that speaks to me, I'll pick it up.
And you can see that this is a well-worn watch because the bracelet is very well worn. I mean, the case is in very good condition. The crystal, obviously, and the dial, everything else is in really good condition. But you can see that this has been on your wrist a lot of time. Beautiful dial on here, though. I agree. I mean, it's like a copper color, salmon almost, and then you have these concentric, not circles, but it mimics the shape of the case, and you just have a minute track. It's really nice, 2 layers. They make very good-looking watches, and they've made some pretty interesting watches over the past few years, and excited to see what they do next. And they're always at the Windup watch fairs too. Yeah. So if you ever want to meet John, he is always there. It's actually where I've met John before. That's where I've met John. So very, very cool. All right, the next watch is an Alpina.
Yes. So this is the Alpina Alpiner Extreme. I wasn't wearing the Tudor as much because I have so many memories tied into it that I would hate for something to happen to it. Okay. So I wear it here and there, but not a lot. I was just waiting for them to make something that kind of, once again, spoke to me.
You. Yep.
And they made this, and I immediately just said, perfect. A sporty watch that is comfortable, gets the job done. It's not overly complicated. It just does the job really well. Yeah. And that's what I was looking for, and that's what I got.
I think I've actually featured this specific watch, and this, I don't know if it was in this color, but this watch on my channel, and I really liked it. I mean, the dial itself and the texture, it's sort of like it's their logo, obviously, over and over again, but it comes off almost like, I don't want to say honeycomb-ish, but it's a really nice texture, and the overall feel of these watches, they feel like really nicely made watches. I mean, it doesn't feel any different from the Tudor, in my opinion. I mean, they feel really nice. They look really nice, and the finishing is really good. And of course, you do have a Salida movement in here, which is a workhorse. You get 200 meters of water resistance. It's a great watch. A very controversial watch, if you want to talk about that. It's controversial on YouTube, at least. I don't know if in the real world it is, but
look, guys, I wear it. I actually wear it. This is, of course, the Moonswatch.
Mission to the Moon, right?
Mission to the Moon. Oh, man, the story behind this is interesting.
Does it involve waiting online?
Well, first off, I waited online as part of a write-up.
So you were being paid to write online.
So not even, well, I eventually was paid for the write-up, so that was nice. But I wanted to write about the experience of standing online and waiting for the watch. And I wrote that up for Time and Tide, which was great, of course.
Where did you wait? What?
I waited on, I think it was the Fifth Avenue store.
Okay. And did you get a watch that day?
No.
Okay.
Heck no.
Okay. I was about to say, if you got a watch, you woke up ridiculously early.
I got there and I saw the line. I pretty much knew I would not get a watch. Just because by then, I'd heard all the whispering and, there's only so much at this store, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So I pretty much knew. I just decided I'd stay in line and enjoy the time with other people. I've always been a fan of the Speedmaster. I just haven't seen myself, make that leap to purchasing one. So yeah, this kind of just scratched that itch.
And the Mission to the Moon, Mission to Mercury, in my opinion, I think those are the best.
I will not say that every collection needs a G-Shock. I just feel like everyone should experience one at some point in time. This is a simple G-Shock. It's part of a series they called Adrenaline Red. So that's why you have the red dial, the red
negative display, right? Is that a negative display?
I think it would be, but it's a red display with the black numerals, and this is the value searching side of my collecting. I had moments where, especially during the pandemic, where 9 times out of 10 you would find me at a Marshall's or like a TJ Maxx because if you know, you know. I'll say as much. So there's some great watch hunting opportunities in those stores. I'm just saying.
TJ Maxx, I'm familiar with.
Oh yes, TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx,
yes.
Definitely. And I saw this on one of those hunting escapades, and it just rang to me. I was just like, oh my gosh, I like that. Like, it's different than most of the other G-Shocks I've seen. I love the red dial. I love the black and red mix. It's Bluetooth connected.
The square, it's classic.
Yeah.
Classic watch.
Yeah.
It's iconic. People use the word iconic all the time and they describe everything as iconic, but that's truly iconic. I mean, if I showed you a sillow of it, you would be like, oh, that's a G-Shock square. You know what I mean?
Like, know what it is.
You don't see every day. One of the best bracelets, one of the most underrated bracelets, you were talking about like something that speaks to you. I've never been a huge fan of Breitling.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I don't need to like your watches. You don't need to like my watch. But what I'm saying is, this has to be one of the best bracelets on a watch. Yeah, the Rulo? Like literally, like ever. I have always loved this bracelet, and there are very few. I think there's one Tag Heuer that had a kind of similar bracelet, but nothing near.
Yeah,
this is fantastic.
So that's my Breitling Chronomat. Much like you, I love the bracelet. I love the Rulo. I think it's one of the most beautifully designed bracelets. And one of the most comfortable bracelets to wear. I was never really a big fan of Breitling. I had moments where I would fall in and out of love with the Navitimer. Some of the bigger sizes, smaller sizes. That's kind of what Breitling meant to me. Me and my wife like to watch Friends. I'm willing to bet 9 out of 10 people in the audience know what Friends is.
Yes.
But Monica on the show, Monica Geller, she wears quite often a Chronomat. It has the Rulo bracelet. In fact, I remember there was an article where there was a little contention in terms of if it was actually a full Chronomat, because the naming convention has to mean chronograph and a mixture of words. But I would always notice the Rulo bracelet because she wore her watch over clothes on many occasions. So she would have like a dark long sleeve and she would wear the watch on top of that and it would stand out. Plus, Jerry Seinfeld
I was just about to
would wear the Chronomat a lot as well.
Yeah, on the show all the time.
All the time.
In his personal life, he still wears it.
Yeah. And back then, I think it was just the classic 7750 inside of it. And it was, that watch, it just, we already watch TV and we highlight and key into watches. But for me as a watch guy, watching that and just falling in love with just the watch, just seeing him, like, what is that? The second I saw it the first time, I was just, what is that? I need to know what is that. I did the research. Now there was the Chronomat, and I said, eventually I'm gonna get a Chronomat. Like, I really want one. I'm gonna get one. I'm not really like a sparkly guy. So like the polished bezel, it took some time for me to get used to that.
So this is the HydroConquest GMT from Longines, and it needs no introduction on my channel. If you watch my videos, I own this in green. And it was around the same time. I got it the exact same time as you did. I think it was like the same week, maybe. Yeah. You got in the brown dial, which, oh my God, I love the brown dial. I really love the green dial, but it was like, and I told you,
our stories are, I think, pretty identical.
Yeah, it was even between the green and the brown for me, and I think the green was like $100 cheaper, so I went with the green. Even though I wanted the brown more, the $100 swayed me to get the green. I'm also ashamed to say that, but I mean, I'm like, it's just, gotta save money where you can save money. But
yeah, like you, I wanted the green dial. I actually walked into the store and I was just like, I want the green dial, but I want it on the bracelet. And they only had it on the strap. And I was just like, do I want to just pick it up on the strap? Or, do I want to wait for it on the bracelet? They were like, saying 2-3 days. I was just like, I don't know. As I'm doing that, the great salesman that he is, the brown dial is there, and he's just like, oh, you should try the brown dial. I'm like, I would never wear a brown dial. And then, gilt and like gold, like, no. And he's just like, no, try it out. The second I put the watch on my wrist, I pretty much forgot about the green dial.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain how this dial looks. I mean, it's easy to just call it a brown dial, but it's much more than that. Like, it's chocolate. It has some
bronze,
red.
It's like bronzy a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there, and I just really liked it. It spoke to me. It said, Ricardo, you have to have this. And I picked it up.
This is my favorite watch that came out last year. I hands down, I think that Longines in general have been doing some pretty cool watches. And I just had to buy it. The micro adjust, the collar GMT, the dial, the 200 or 300 meters of water resistance, 300, right?
Yeah.
Everything about it. The bracelet, just the H-link, just great.
Taper, like it is. In many ways, it is a checklist watch. Yeah, it is a watch that checks everything off that you would want in a watch like that. And they just do it well. Yeah. Add to that the dial. Yeah. And I mean, the watch is just amazing. And I won't say which watch, I sold another GMT and I ended up picking this up. And there were certain things that the other GMT didn't have that this had that really, like the micro adjust. They were just, like I said, just overall, it's just a really good watch. If you ever get a chance to just try one on, I'm not telling you have to buy it, just try it on. The HydroConquest GMT is pretty good. It's amazing. The Spirit GMT, they're doing a great job with all their, Thank you so much for coming on and showing us your watches and going through in chronological order all the different the history of your watch collecting. I appreciate it. And don't forget to check out the Windup Watch Shop. Don't forget to check out Worn and Wound. And of course, Windup Watch Fair coming to San Francisco first, then Chicago, then New York, right? Yep. And New York going to have drinks at the next watch fair. And it's going to be in a bigger venue, which is really incredible how much it's grown. And obviously it's grown because it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great place. But thank you so much for having me. Thank you. This has been amazing. It's weird to talk about your collection because it kind of forces you to sit down and just think about all the things you've done in the past few weeks. But this was a pretty cool experience. Few weeks, few years, no? I said we didn't get all these last weeks, did you? Okay, no. This is just years and years of trial and error and experiences and kind of fine tuning what it is I like and what I don't like. Awesome.